Hello and welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool Sports college football podcast presented by the lovely folks at Twisted Tea, the hard iced tea. Guys, it's August. It's still pretty hot outside. The weather is breaking a little bit.
I don't know about where you are, but where we are, it is turned pleasant.
It is pleasant. It's been pleasant.
I've had to wear a hoodie in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, it's hoodie weather in the morning. It was 59 degrees when I got up this morning.
It was in the 60s where I've been, and then now I'm back in New York, and it's nice. But it doesn't matter, Brandon, because that hard iced tea is going to hit no matter what the weather is, right? I know T-Bob's just pop one open.
It's an ice cold twisted tea. Ice cold, by the way. Great job, Lukey. Excellent production.
Ice cold.
Damn, that's cold. Twisted tea.
Yeah, it's delicious.
So
Lukey got me a peach tea.
It's Brandon Walker in a can.
Yeah.
Brandon, we're going to get into conference previews this episode, which I'm very excited about, which means that college football is very, very soon. Week 0, which is the unofficial start, as we know, but it is still 20 days away.
I'd say it's the official start.
Well, it is, but we all know it's the official start, but then you get after Farmageddon on week 0, like you're just dying for week 1. We know this.
Yeah, it's like the Cubs and Dodgers this year played in Japan. It was the official start, but it's not the official start for everybody.
Wait, but
it's the appetizer.
I thought the official start was the day after, like, basketball and stuff. Or I thought the official start was in training camp opens.
No, we have 7 or 8 official starts.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
I think I said this last year. It's that, when you get you go to a place that I'm not going to say no because no free ads. You go to a place where they have steaks and it may be named after a certain state in the United States, and they give you the rolls with the butter.
Oh, she's talking about Kansas Steakery.
Yes, Kansas Steakery, and you fill up on the butter, and then you realize the bread and butter, and then you realize, oh my God, like the real meal is coming. That's what week 0 is. You get so excited that it's there, but then you realize, no, the real meat's coming the next week. But you're still excited to have it.
T-Bob, 3 restaurants named after states. Go.
Stony River, Cracker Barrel, Popeyes.
What?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
I think
I was going Texas Roadhouse,
Okay.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the
California Pizza Kitchen. Ha! Got one.
Ooh, good one.
Got
Done.
one. Took me long enough.
There's got to be more than that. See, now we're going to go down
The
rabbit
Iowa
hole.
Potato House.
what? Idaho, you mean?
Idaho, yeah, that's what he said. The Idaho
said
Potato
Iowa.
House. Oh, my bad.
That's a real
Iowa's
place.
corn
Freudian
and white
slip.
people.
That
I guess
place
Idaho's
sounds
probably
delicious.
white people too.
You don't fuck with the IPH?
Huh?
The Idaho Potato House?
Never seen it.
Oh,
Sounds delicious.
I do love potatoes.
well, you'd love the Idaho Potato House.
Big Ev, we're going to do conference previews, and we're starting with the Big Ten. We're starting in your home today, buddy.
Starting with the
How does that make
second
you
best
feel?
conference today. This is weird.
Yeah, we're starting with the back-to-back national champions conference. It's the conference of champions. Where else
That's
would
the
we
thing
start?
they told us that for so long we were hiding behind our champions. Now he's doing the same thing. One of the champions he's mentioning is his rival.
You got a mouse in your pocket? Ain't
Brandon.
no we. Fuck the Big Ten. Fuck the SEC. Fuck everyone. I hope everyone loses.
To be fair, Brandon, he's allowed to say that because his team is currently the national champions.
Yeah, that's the championship crown on my head. You imagine that? Right? You see it right there.
Hold on.
No,
So,
he
I'm the
can't
champ.
imagine it, and neither can I.
so week 0, does he stop becoming the national champion?
No.
No. There's a common saying in sports: "We the champions, so we ain't the champions no more." We are the champions.
So we ain't the champions.
T-Bob, that's actually a good question for you as somebody that's played in this glorious league.
Yeah, thank you. Let me be the arbiter of all things.
No,
that are correct.
because I agree with Ev, and I've been saying this no matter what. Now, obviously, we had to battle this a lot on the college football show last year because Michigan won the year before, and then Dave would say they're still the champ until they're not, and it became a whole thing. But I've always thought no matter what sport it is, until someone else is crowned the champion of whatever league it is, the former is the champion.
Hogwash.
No,
Your championship window ends the second the next season begins. And
No.
Dave was walking around. It'll be one thing for Ohio State, who'll be like 11-1 this year. But Dave was walking around at 3-5, saying I'm the champion, and he had lost to fucking Illinois and Indiana.
That part is fair. And it still is the reigning national champions or the reigning NBA champions or the reigning World Series champions. Like that is still a thing until somebody else wins.
But then what do we do with the Eagles? You've seen what the Eagles are saying in the NFL? They're like, we ain't defending shit. We are the champions of 24. But this is 25.
Now it's time
So
to go
they're
get
not
another
the
one.
But this is
defending-
25. They're not like Ohio State are not the 2025 champions.
No.
We can say that officially.
Are they dropping?
Yes.
are
You're
they
the
dropping
champion
that many?
24. Congratulations, Ev. I mean, if you like to live in the past, that's fine. I'm kind of like a next step guy. Kind
they
of
are
always like
defending
looking
it.
forward.
I'll be very clear. I'm gonna take whatever lane fits my narrative. The difference is the other people around the world, around the country that do this for a living, they'll tell you the whatever. They give you the hot word. I tell you the truth. Listen, last year it was over when the season started because Michigan won and I don't like them. This year I'm the champion and I say we're the champions, so we're not. That's
Fuck
how
yeah.
it goes.
Straight up. There's also
Honestly,
something very funny about being like, I'll do whatever lane works for me, and I'm going to tell you the truth.
Damn right.
I mean,
but then you pulled it off. I agree. I mean, I see what you're saying.
Blutman, where do you land on this? I feel like you're pretty smart with this kind of thing.
I mean, I see both sides. I mean, like I've said, you do what you want. It's kind of just whatever fits your prerogative. Dave's Michigan thing was very funny last year. I love that. I think I more so lie towards the first kickoff at week 0. The championship's up for grabs. One team's defending it, but they're no longer truly the champ. I guess that's kind of how I look at it.
They're not really defending it because nothing
I
can
know,
take it
'cause
away.
That's what the
True.
Eagles said.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said reigning. I do. You are the reigning national champions.
Defending would be like a boxing guy who's bringing the belt in, and if he loses, he gives the belt up.
Correct.
If I
Well,
look
I
at
believe Ryan
You know,
Day
I
said
mean,
something to the effect
technically.
of, "We're not defending, we're attacking champions this year."
Oh,
That's
dear.
so
We're
God.
going after the
that
next
lame as
champion.
fuck.
That's lame. I'm out on that.
Oh, I mean, I'd imagine all the losers in the room, yeah, they don't like attacking champions either. I'm shocked by that.
I had to talk you into you guys being champions, if you remember correctly.
It was a rough weekend, Brandon. It was a rough
I had
was
to
a
talk
bad
you
day.
back into it.
It was
It was
a
a bad
bad
day.
week. I was emotional.
Ev, if any other coach in the history of college football that is not attached to Ohio State said, we're not defending national champs, we're attacking the national championship, you would make fun of it.
But that's very much something like a Nick Saban would say. Like
It sounds like Dabo.
You got to
Sounds like
love some
that does sound like Dabo.
coaches
sure, like,
love
I mean, I'll have no
wordplay.
problem with my head coach being in those coaches' conversations. Those are two of the greatest of all time.
That's also a good point. I wouldn't know how that feels, Brandon. You wouldn't either. So maybe we should just keep it
All right,
moving.
you've said that about one too many times.
Well,
today.
also to be fair, Mississippi State did win a baseball national championship. A&M has not won a national championship in anything, and
Women's basketball.
I
Hello.
guess you don't know. I don't know. You don't know about their
excuse me, I was
dynasty and
actually
meat
not aware of
judging,
it.
do you, sir?
No, I was about to say. I didn't know if it was them or Kansas State that were the meat judging.
We're meat. Hey,
champs.
we're the meat judging defending national
Yeah.
champions. But I don't actually think we won it last year. I don't know, Brandon. You'd have to tell me. We did win a women's basketball championship when I was in school. Thank you.
I apologize, and that's on me. I'll take a lap.
Brandon would know about A&M's meat judging habits.
Exactly. Brandon, are you actually going to be the head judge of this year's competition?
Huh? I'll be the head. I'll be the head meat.
Yeah, you're the big meat.
Yeah, I'll be the big meat.
The big meat on campus,
Judge
the
my meat.
BMOC.
You know, like all jokes and double entendres aside, you know, judging in those meat judging contests is probably awesome.
Can we get into it already?
Yeah, let's get into it. Okay. All right. All right. Big Ten preview in a little bit, but first, the coaches poll has come out. We all know preseason polls don't really matter, but they give us talking points, and everybody's talking about it because on this, and everybody else knows, week 1, we do have the 1-2 matchup. We have Texas, Ohio State. So it came out top 10 is Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame at 5, Clemson at 6, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami. Those are the top 10. And then right outside of that, you have Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, and Ole Miss, top 15. Brandon, I will start with you. When you look at this, I know we all kind of roll our eyes like, okay, let's actually play some games. But do you agree with this for the most part?
I don't think anything is egregious. I would switch. I personally would have Penn State number 1 in mind. I don't mind Texas as number 1. I think they're loaded. I think Arch Manning is primed to inherit the best situation imaginable. I think they made a playoff 2 years ago. Last year they made it and won a game. Like their steps are very similar to what Michigan did a couple years ago, where they made it and then they made it a little further and then they won the whole thing. So I don't mind Texas number 1. I would definitely flip Penn State and Ohio State. It's hard to do because in the voters' eyes, Penn State's never beaten Ohio State in a big spot, so that's why they're there. But if I'm judging 2025 teams, I think Penn State looks a whole lot more good across the board than Ohio State does, who has to answer some questions. But I wouldn't drop Ohio State much. 3, Georgia's fine at 4. Notre Dame's a little high at 5. I think it's not giving enough credit to how charmed that run was last year and how lucky the draw was. Clemson at 6, I'd move them up a little bit, but it's all pretty standard. 7 Oregon's fine, 10 Alabama, whatever, 9 LSU. That seems like a lot of credit for them having not done anything yet. Miami at 10, same thing. Arizona State at 11, won a lot of close games, but these are where they should be. The only one that looks egregiously overrated to me in the entire poll is South Carolina at 13.
Illinois and South Carolina, one of them's going to fall off.
South Carolina.
One of them will fail.
South Carolina is a great
Illinois
quarterback, one great defensive player, and a shit ton of question marks. There's a ton of question marks on that defense, and Dylan Stewart can't plug every gap. I think that's way too high for them. Otherwise, it looks fine.
A lot of these, like, you could make that argument too. Like, we don't know what Ole Miss quarterback situation is going to look like, but who would you slide higher than those teams? Because I know obviously it's going to go based off of what happened at the end of last year, and we know how good Illinois was, and we know what South Carolina finished with, and they are bringing Lenora Sellers back. Like, when you look at the teams after, you've got SMU, Florida, Tennessee, Indiana, Kansas State, A&M, Iowa State, BYU, Tech, and Boise State. Like, who would you slide above those two teams?
Well, it's a fair question. There's not anybody behind them that just is screaming to move up, but I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think Indiana
that's
too
exactly
low.
right. Yeah,
I think Indiana maybe improve their quarterback situation. They bring back a pretty good roster. I think Indiana's a better football team than South Carolina is today. I think, and a lot of it's speculation. Like, Michigan's just a guess. Ole Miss is just a guess with the new quarterback. It's all just a guess. So there's a lot of. I think once you get past 11 at Arizona State, it is just a hodgepodge of traits and characteristics that people like from certain teams. Like, they like South Carolina's quarterback. They like Ole Miss's coaching staff. They like Florida's quarterback, presumably. They like certain things on certain teams, but there's not enough full teams there to really. It's going to be a whirlwind after number 11.
The thing about Ole Miss that is different from a lot of the other teams, in my opinion, working in new quarterbacks, is I actually view quarterback as a strength for Ole Miss. And yes, am I extrapolating from a very small data? Yeah. Yes, but my point is, if we're talking about like the hindrances to Ole Miss, it's replacing the defense. Their defense was why they were finally good last year. Their defense was incredible. They lost a lot of guys off that defense, a lot of NFL talent. Did they have like, I can't remember the exact number. I think they had like 6 or 7 of the first 45 picks. Like, it was something crazy that they've never had before, and they actually underachieved last year. So
they massively underachieved. They had a top 5 roster in the country last year.
So that's why I'm saying, but you talk about Ole Miss, I think you got to mention the defense. I like you said, I think Indiana is a bit undervalued here. What do we think about Kansas State at 20?
So Kansas State, to me, lives between like 18 and 20 in the preseason, and sometimes, depending on the quarterback, they'll live up to it, and sometimes they won't. And to me, Avery was just disappointing last year. It's in there, but I'll have to see it. Now, the Big 12.
I mean, that's a second Big 12 team all the way down to 20.
The Big 12 is so convoluted and so close together that somebody could be 20 today and end up in the top 10, or they could end up unranked, way away from being ranked. I thought BYU at 23 is pretty insane.
That's the worst ranking on there by a significant margin. You said nothing's egregious. That's beyond egregious. The coaches aren't aware. They don't have a quarterback, and they lost their best playmaker last year.
Yeah, I don't. A lot of this, and coaches is usually like this, a lot of this is copy and paste from the end of last season.
Correct.
And also
just none of them see Retzlaff is not on the team anymore. Did none of them see Keelan Marion?
Why they won last year, though. I mean, I feel you.
Retzlaff was a really good and clutch player, a very clutch, just prime-time performer that got them out of some really difficult spots. Remember the Oklahoma State game? He put them on their back.
Yeah, you were high on BYU last year.
You know, I mean, they definitely shouldn't be ranked. I think Retzlaff's a huge loss. Yeah, I wouldn't have them ranked. It's tough. I think they kind of just threw Iowa State, BYU in there because obviously they were good teams last year. Texas Tech brought out all these recruits, transfers, all that, so they're high. I mean, it's projecting. I definitely would have Texas Tech ahead of Iowa State and BYU.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Texas Tech has to be Texas Tech. If they don't finish way better in this, it's a disappointing season.
I think there's a shocking one. The very first team receiving votes is Oklahoma, and the pollsters usually love Oklahoma. They brought in John Mateer and Jay Knott, and they hopefully fixed their offense. I talent-wise, especially with that defense, I got them way ahead of Texas Tech and BYU and Iowa State, Kansas State, Tennessee. I got them ahead of all these teams.
It is bizarre that usually it's one of the, you mentioned Kansas State's always in that space. I mean, A&M's usually in that space where preseason they're going to be, around 20 and it could be a disaster or they could move up. But Oklahoma not making it with how much hype John Mateer is getting. And then Missouri is the next team receiving votes. So at 142, I know you're high on Missouri.
Mizzou
I do
not
feel
being
like
in the top 25 is crazy.
I wouldn't say, you said 11, Brandon. You think after Arizona State? I would say probably after South Carolina, because I think Illinois and South Carolina are where they should be. After that, it really is just like going off of some of last year, where they're normally projected, and just coaches having to fill in 25 teams. That's what it seems like to me at this point, which we know with preseason teams, it normally happens. But setting up with the coaches poll, the number 1 versus number 2 week 1 is, I mean, we know how hyped that game's going to be anyways, but I feel like that's almost another reason why Ohio State is ahead of Penn State. It's like they just know how big this game is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, 1v2, it does. I mean, that's just 1 minute. I mean, so what? We also got 6 versus 9 later that night with Clemson and LSU here. As you said, that's going to be a real feast week 1. I mean, whatever. This is a minor quibble, but I will back up. I don't know if you agree. I'd put Clemson at 5 over Notre Dame here.
Yes.
In fact, why is Notre Dame 5 here?
Because they finished very, very strong last year. And
people love Marcus Freeman.
It's one of those copy and paste. But I just they made an incredible run at the end of the season, and that sticks out in voters' minds. But again, the run was the breaks they got on that run need to be studied. They're not going to happen very often. I just think they're not as good as Clemson or Oregon, in my opinion.
Alabama at 8's kind of interesting too.
Where you put them though?
I agree. I don't mean that it's a guarantee. Like, because to be honest, we talk about biases all the time in the show, and I've been I've suffered at the hands of Alabama enough that I still have a bit of like fear of the boogeyman in terms of like I can't just outright call them bad. But I think if I could, in a vacuum, remove my biases and just like look at this team, I would not think that they were like, I would maybe say, no, I don't think they're as good as like an LSU or maybe even Miami behind them, but not really Miami believer either. So
they got the LSU problem going on. Their coach is good, but he doesn't fit Alabama, and we're going to find that out this year. Do I sound okay?
Yeah, why?
I can't. I don't hear myself when I talk.
Yeah, you sound great.
No, I'm all right. Okay. All right.
As long as you sound good to the people, but you do. You sound good. I don't know if I would put Kalen DeBoer in the same category as Brian Kelly with that quite yet, Brandon, but we can talk about that when we get to the SEC. The biggest thing for me, and we did this when we did team totals, I think that was in like May or June or whenever that was that you do have 3 teams in the Big Ten that are all 10.5, according to Vegas. You have Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon, obviously all top 10 teams, and you have Illinois right out. We know how top heavy the Big Ten is. We do know that. We know how bad the very bottom is, but a lot of those teams in the middle, they can kind of go every which way. And anytime, whether you look at Athlon, whether you look, I mean, obviously we know, and Brandon, you had your quote in there. We have the Pick 6 previews. Like when you look at everybody's magazines, all that middle ground is pretty different for a lot of people, but obviously it's the same team. So we're going to get into the unnecessary roughness Big Ten preview. But first, we're going to talk about investing in good sheets, fellas, because listen, when you invest in something good that lasts, whether it's like, a jacket, the weather's changing, whether it's your shoes, whether it's furniture, you know that when you invest in something good, it's going to last forever. And that's what's most important with sheets, because you spend a lot of time in your sheets, right, Brandon? You spend a lot of time in between those sheets doing whatever you want to do, but most importantly, sleeping. Hey, I'm just calling it how it is. Boll and Branch will make sure you're comfortable no matter what you're doing in your sheets. They're made with the finest 100% organic cotton. And most importantly, they're soft and breathable. There is nothing worse than getting into bed, whether it's hot outside, cold outside, and you just cannot breathe. Your skin can't breathe. You feel hot. You're sweaty. You can't get warm. Never happens in Boll and Branch. And it does come with a 30-night worry-free guarantee.
Yeah, it
so
did
if
make
you don't
sense
like
to
them,
that.
No, she was just covering the whole temperature spectrum.
Right. Okay, all right.
She said if you're sweaty or cold, Boll and Branch can
She's
get
like,
you
if
right.
you're hot, sweaty, and can't get warm.
Yeah.
No, I said or can't get warm.
Yeah, or can't get warm.
All
What's
right.
wrong with you, Brandon?
Fine.
Brandon,
You did it too.
listen.
He made the same face I made.
Hey, if I did, I'll slow down. If you're hot and sweaty or you can't get warm,
Hey now.
Boll and Branch, okay? And Brandon, I know you sleep on Boll and Branch, so I know you know what I'm talking about. Also, T-Bob, as I've said, if you haven't gotten them, I know that you have kids. They have kid sheets too. my 2-year-old, he sleeps on a Bowl and Branch crib sheet like a king. Okay, they've got it all. They've got robes, they've got pajamas, they've got everything. So feel the difference.
Oh, no, okay. I was going to say pressure's on your child because my 2.5-year-old just got in a big boy bed.
I saw that.
Sounds like I need some Bowl and Branch sheets.
I saw it and I was like, well, to be fair, he has older siblings though.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that is true.
So
that's true.
He's learned faster. And also I don't want to have to worry about my son getting out. Plus he's sleeping on Bowl and Branch, right?
I know, trust me.
So feel the difference with the extraordinary night's sleep you can make with Bowl and Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping for your first set of sheets at bowlandbranch.com/rough. That's BOLL and branch.com/rough. Save 15%. Exclusions do apply. Bowlandbranch.com. And if you are going to college, invest in good sheets. I promise you it'll be worth it. You don't want the shitty sheets you're going to have to throw away. Go get Bowl and Branch. So Big Ten preview. If you are a new listener to Unnecessary Roughness, we'll do this with every conference. We'll do it with G5, and we will do it with the whole, obviously, landscape, doing the college football playoff and all that. But what we do is we do these categories, okay? The graphics will come out as well, so you can listen to our explanations here, and then you can either really love or hate our graphic. We do champion, we do the title game, player of the year, coach of the year, the most disappointing team, a surprise team. Surprise team obviously can go any which way you want. We have the worst team in the conference. And then this year we have added 2 different ones. We got rid of wild card from last year. We've added a breakout player. And then we have added a ball knowers big game, which was named by Liam Blutman. It was Brandon's idea to do not an Ohio State Michigan game, not an Ohio State Texas game. If you're a ball knower, which game in this conference is a big game on the roster? So it's August 4th. So these are obviously going to be changing a little bit as the season goes on. But Brandon, I want to ask you, as the number 1 ball knower, the number 1 college football ball knower in the country.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody. That's wonderful. Where would you like to start? Because I feel like sometimes we start at the breakout player. Sometimes we start at the champion. I want you to decide.
I'll invoke champion's privilege here.
Okay.
And I'll pass it to Big Ev as a defending national champion on this show, the reigning national champion on the show. I will allow him to call the order of the Big Ten categories.
Ooh, I like that. All right, Ev.
See, I like going with the champion in all that game, title game champion last. I say we go ball knowers big game first at the
Wow.
top.
Okay.
Ooh,
Ball knower big game.
All right.
Okay.
That's why I want to go first.
I like it.
The
Kayce, you
Liam Blutman ball knowers big game of the year. So I'll
I
do
came
the
up
same.
with
Ev,
You
it's
did.
your honor.
Yeah,
Not only
But I stole the name. I made the name.
I feel like I came up with that. I came up
You
with that.
did.
You
but
were
he
like
named
low
it.
key
Yeah, but
big
Liam's
game,
like a
and then
better
I
ball
coined
knower,
the
though.
phrase. I coined the phrase.
Okay, so here, the Liam Blutman
Sorry.
ball knowers big game of the year, inspired by Brandon
Presented
Walker.
by Brown Walker.
All right. So
Presented by Brandon Walker.
most underrated big game, like anybody. And Liam says ball knowers big. All right, got it.
See?
Okay.
See? Okay, but
The
Brandon
ball
Walker.
knowers
does-
big game.
Ball knowers big game. Okay, Ev, you are not only the reigning champ of the Big Ten, also your school obviously is the reigning champ. So I will let you go first. What is your ball knowers big game of 2025 in the Big
I'm
Ten?
also people that watched last year. I'm also the ball knower of the year last year when we did these previews.
I
Thank you very
don't think
much.
that's true.
To it was voted on by the committee. You being one of the members of that said committee.
We did.
T-Bob wasn't here yet.
T-Bob, I will tell you, I have no idea if you know this or not, so I'm going to assume that you don't know anything that we've ever done on this podcast. We not only keep these, we go back and revisit after the season to decide who was the biggest ball knower of the year. We go through each conference
Oh, I love this.
and pat ourselves on the back or not shit on ourselves, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm not Dana Beers. I haven't shit on myself. Well, I have, but not that many times.
No way. Okay. I as soon as that came out of my mouth, I wanted to put it back in because I was like, I can't even.
Hey
Okay.
now.
Ev.
All right, the ball knowers big game of the year in the Big Ten. This is a game. It's in September, but this game I think is a trendsetter for the entire conference for 2 teams, and really just obviously going forward. It's September 20th. It's Michigan at Nebraska. This game is going to set the tone for the entire conference. If you look at Nebraska's schedule, very weak, very, very weak, very winnable. This is a game that if Nebraska can win this game at home, there is a real chance they could be sitting there 9-0, 10-0. Listen, Nebraska, will they find a way to fuck it up? Maybe, probably, but I'm telling you, they will, if they win this game, they will be favored in their next probably 5-6 games potentially, and really could be looking at a 10-0 matchup at Penn State at the end of November. And listen, I'll be unbiased, and for Michigan's way, as long as they beat Oklahoma, similar kind of thing for them. Like they can find themselves in a 9-0, 10-0 spot down the road with a couple big games to end the season, obviously. So I think this game is absolutely, even though it's September 20th, absolutely massive for the Big Ten. Massive.
All right, T-Bob.
That's great. I mean, good choice. So I had 3 because I figured that we'd have some crossover here. That was actually one on my list as well for all the reasons. That is a real chance for Matt Rule to kick his Matt Rule year 3 into right into action. Okay, which one do I want to do? I'm going to go September 27th, week 5, Indiana at Iowa. Mm-hmm. And I think when we're talking about the ball knower big games, right, it can't involve the big 3. Because if it does, like we hold these truths to be self-evident. We know what an Oregon, Penn State, or Ohio State game means. But as we kind of alluded to at the start of the show, as Kayce did, there is a logjam in that next tier right now, with a lot of interesting teams in this new NIL era fighting for supremacy of that tier 2. And last year, Cignetti and Indiana burst onto the scene. Now, that's traditionally been Iowa's spot, right? And now people are down a bit on Iowa this year. So in my mind, this has the potential to almost be like a passing of that Iowa torch game. Like, can Indiana supplant the Hawkeyes and become the new Iowa? Interestingly, though, it will be right after Indiana played Illinois at home. So this will be a massive test for them. If Cignetti and Mendoza can find a way to win those games back to back, then like the Hoosiers' legitimacy will be unassailable. So that is, and this obviously also Iowa's opportunity to say, not so fast, fuck you all. We're still like the best of the good teams. Mm-hmm. So that is week 5, September 27th, Indiana at Iowa.
Brandon?
Well, I think both of those were well explained, and both of those are very good. It's a conference. It's hard to include Ohio State in any of these because they obviously are, they're top of the conference, so they're all big. I think if you're looking at a team that has to break through, it is Penn State. They come in with the biggest monkey on their back. They come in as the number 3 team in the country. They come in with all this hype, all this expectation, and this has to be the year they get over the hump. And a lot of eyes are on Penn State and Oregon on September 27th. A lot of eyes are on Penn State and Ohio State November 3rd. Right there in the middle of that schedule, the grenade is, or the landmine is laying in Iowa City. Mm-hmm. The trap is laid in Iowa City for Penn State, and that is a trap they have fallen into before, and a lot of teams have fallen into it. I assume it'll probably be a night game. It's at Iowa, October 18th. Penn State, who has Oregon, who has Ohio State, who has Indiana, who has all these dreams, if they were to split, if they were to go 1-1 against Oregon and Ohio State, then they don't need to slip up anymore, and they got to go to Iowa, October 18th. Iowa's defense is losing more than they're characteristically losing. They're taking a step back defensively, but for Iowa, their defense is so built on culture and so built on development that I don't think they fall off as much as other teams when that happens. And if they have a quarterback, they got a puncher's chance. I think it's Penn State at Iowa, October 18th.
Ball knower. All right, Blutman, ball knower.
I was actually texting Connor Griffin last night and told him I got a sneaky feeling Iowa's winning that game. Straight up.
Ooh.
I like that game a lot. Now, the ball knower's big game, presented by Brandon Walker, has essentially become glazing Iowa in some fashion.
Fair enough.
That's just what we're doing. And
because they are the gatekeeper to tier 2.
Correct. And like you, I'm not picking the team that's in that top 3 of Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. I'm picking Minnesota, Iowa, and this is a sandwich game on Iowa's side. This is October 25th. Great slate. You've got Penn State the week prior for Iowa, and then the next game, not the next week, the next game's Oregon for the Hawkeyes. So this is right there in the old Iowa sandwich. Floyd or Rosedale on the line. 98 pounds of pork on the line. This game must see TV. This, like T-Bob has said, is really going to show who might just be at the top of the tier 2 in the Big Ten. I can't wait for some good old-fashioned hatred between the Gophs and Hawkeyes.
The Gophs.
I do love that you said it's like Iowa's gatekeeping, because you are right, T-Bob. They're like just always right there with that next thing. But once we got rid of divisions in the Big Ten, which I like better, I understand. Like, I hate having divisions in every other conference but the SEC. I want them in the SEC because I think it makes it more fair, but I don't like them in any other conference because it makes it more fun. But now that there are no divisions, that whole like level right there, Iowa's still there, and Iowa still is creeping up. But I'm going to go a different way, guys. I am going to go the same date as Liam, October 25th. And this is probably a little bit more of a precursor for my other picks than maybe you guys have. But on week 9, October 25th, you have Illinois, Washington in Seattle. Now, this is one of those things, like obviously Washington, it's their second year in the Big Ten, their second year with Jed Fish. I'm going to talk about both of these teams in the later categories. This game at a neutral site that late in the season is massive for what I think is going to happen in the Big Ten. I think when I look at both of these teams' schedules, it lays out to where this could be a major trajectory for either one of them, especially Illinois, again, precursor. But this is one of those games that you would not look at all the sexy picks when you look at the Big Ten and you look at all the Ohio State, Penn State, even like obviously Oregon, Michigan. This is one of those games that's laying there at a really important time in the season for the Big Ten. And I'll just say more about that later, but that game to me stood out immediately.
No, that's a great answer. And actually, that comes a week after another one that I toyed with, which is a lot of the same thing, and that was Washington at Michigan. Because you look at Washington's schedule, they will in all likelihood be 6-1 entering that game. If they beat Michigan, they could enter that 7-1 with momentum. And then Illinois, does Illinois have any early threats? They have to get past
Illinois,
the Indiana test.
They play Ohio State on October 11th, but outside of that, I mean, that could legitimately be like 7-1 versus maybe like 6-2, something along those lines. That's a big one. Yeah, that stood out to me. But all of those picks are good, and I do think that when you look at the Big Ten schedule, that if you take out the super shitty teams and then you take out the powerhouse, like there's at least 1 or 2 games a week inside the Big Ten that are really going to have a lot of juice per se because of the expanded playoff. Okay, so I know that if we go into other picks, though, the only problem with leaving title game and champ to the very end is we kind of give it away. But if you guys are okay with that, we can.
No, they should go at the end.
Okay, they should definitely go in. Okay, so then let's go surprise team next. Okay, Brandon Walker, your surprise team in the Big Ten for 2025.
I want to say, Kayce, you've taken this team as your surprise team at least 2 years in a row. And I'll be taking them this year. Big Av pretty much got the ball rolling on this take, and I've done it a couple weeks ago as well. I think the Nebraska Cornhuskers might go 10-2 this year. Mm-hmm. I think the quarterback is in place, the coach is in place, but more importantly than anything, in this very jumbled up conference, they get the Indiana treatment this year. They get the Indiana schedule. They get the schedule that is very, very helpful to getting where they need to go. Now, last year, Indiana was going to improve a lot because they got a good coach and a good quarterback. They were going to be really good, but they turned into a playoff team because luck gave them the easiest schedule a Big Ten team will ever have in any of our lifetimes. And this year, I think that's Nebraska. I'm looking at Indiana's schedule. Nebraska opens up. Excuse me.
Stretch.
Thank you very much.
Stretch.
They got Cincinnati at a neutral site to open up. Then they got Akron and they got Houston Christian. They're starting 3-0. Michigan at home. If we're getting out September 4-0, then we got Michigan State at home. We're 5-0. I really think we're 5-0 at this point because I don't believe in Michigan. I don't believe in Michigan State. At Maryland and at Minnesota, 2 road games. But if I'm starting 5-0 and I'm on the road and I could hand pick where I'm going, I think I'm picking Maryland and Minnesota.
Without a doubt.
I mean, 6-1, 7-0 is very much on the table. Then I come home, I got Northwestern, USC back-to-back. Like, I haven't really had to stretch out yet. Now I get ready for at UCLA. I got at Penn State, Iowa to close the season. They might be favored in 11 games this year. I just think Nebraska, with the third-year coach, with the quarterback, and with the schedule, have a chance to be in the playoff discussion at the end of the season, and that is a long way from where we were last year.
Well, and it reinforces Ev's pick with that Michigan at Nebraska game. Remember, this is a Nebraska team that stormed the field after beating, was it Colorado?
Yes.
Last year?
Yeah.
And then I believe Wisconsin maybe as well. Like, to beat Michigan at home to move to 4-0, it would truly feel for Husker fans like they were out of the wilds finally.
Do y'all remember the three, us, me, you, and Big Ev, 2 years ago when we went to Nebraska, Michigan, how dead in the eyes that crowd was, how sleepy that crowd was, how just absolutely defeated they were, because it was a 42-0 game. They never had a chance, and just 2 years later, I think this could be the turning point to their program.
Well, and that, Brandon, too, I mean, the fact that was only 2 years ago, and it was a million degrees outside too. And I've always said this when we talk about when we went to Lincoln, the crowd for the college football show was one of the most alive crowds we've had in a long time. It was gigantic. I mean, you literally could not see the end of the crowd. And then the difference between that crowd and walking into that stadium after kickoff was just 180 degrees different. And the fact that they had all the hype, I mean, I took them a couple weeks ago when we did our underhyped teams for all the reasons you just said, because it's like we buried them so quickly after Dylan Raiola didn't have his breakout year like people thought he would. But there are very few fan bases that we've witnessed, at least in person, that you could see the life literally drain out of their eyes at kickoff. Like, they were so excited to have the hype there and have, the show there, and then they just died a slow, hot death. Ooh, I don't hate the pick, Brandon. Don't hate the pick.
I got Nebraska.
And now we get Raiola, versus Underwood, two guys that have very kind of similar stories, putting it on for the home team, trying number one. Ooh, it's going to be good.
All right, Ev, your surprise team.
Yeah, I think picking the game I did, Brandon just did a very good job illustrating Nebraska. I'm going to do the same. Nebraska is my team. I think when you just look at, even what Brandon said, the schedule, and the crazy thing is, like, they can lose that Michigan game and still probably go 10-2. That's very realistic. They lose to Michigan, lose to Penn State. They go 10-2. Who knows the way things play out if they're scratching the surface for a playoff team. Probably not with that resume, just because they wouldn't have a lot of great wins. But I think the way it's set up, rule year 3, and Raiola too, him starting the entire year last year is going to be massive from this season. Listen, even the touchdown interception numbers don't blow you away. A kind of guy like that arm talent, getting that experience, playing like big time Big Ten games, I think it's going to be huge for him. I think he takes a big leap this year. There's tons of stats about year 3 Matt Rule. I just think it's in, like Brandon said, they kind of get the Indiana treatment with the schedule here, especially the Michigan game being at home. If they beat that game and lose on the road to Penn State, they're going to make the playoff. They're 11-1. They're going to make the playoff with that schedule and those wins. See, I think it's Nebraska. I think they were kind of there's another team I like that I'll say at the end. Maybe someone else takes it. I think maybe Liam might. But I think they're the clear team that is going to do better than expectations.
All right, T-Bob, surprise team.
So I actually think the guys are really honest. I'm going to go the Nebraska pick. It's not mine, but we do maybe need to point out that, like, while we are playing this game with their schedule being there'll be this or that, like, this is still a Nebraska team that's lost 27 straight ranked games.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are 10-35 in one-score games since 2018, which I think this just reinforces y'all's points, right?
All it's going to balance out.
I agree. I'm
point,
saying if this comes through, then it's a great surprise pick. Mine is a bit different because it would not traditionally be thought of as surprise because we just called them the gatekeeper for Tier 2, and that is Iowa. I guess what I mean is I'm expecting a bit of a surprise in the context of their expectations for this season. Because if you look at last year, they fucked up. They had an easy schedule. They had a very veteran, great returning defense. Offensively, they actually had a pulse, had one of the best rushing attacks in the entire country, but they still couldn't get it done. In fact, last year, this is a crazy stat. So we all know how Iowa plays, right? They want to they want to control everything. I read this in Pick 6. They were 74-2 in games in which they amassed a double-digit lead.
Yeah,
74-2. They lost 3 games last year, in which they had double-digit leads. So last year was just one giant missed opportunity. And as Brandon said, they've lost more than they've gained defensively. This year's schedule's brutal. They get 5 of the top 7. They missed the bottom 4. So why the fuck am I calling my surprise team? Because the quarterback. Because Mark Gronowski. Look, you know I love chess, okay? In chess, every piece has a point, an amount assigned to it, right? A pawn is worth 1. Knights and bishops are 3. Rooks are 5. The queen is 10. Football's the same way. The quarterback far and above has the single biggest impact on any team's hopes every given year. And let's just look at who they just brought in. Okay? This is a cat who's a 4-year starter. He's won 2 national titles. He has a 49-6 record coming from the FCS, over 10,000 career passing yards, 93 touchdowns, 1,800 rushing yards, another 37 touchdowns on the ground. He won the literal Heisman, the Walter Camp, for FCS. Like, what can Iowa, even if they're more flawed in other ways and the schedule is tougher, what if they actually have a quarterback for the first time in the last 2 decades?
That would be something.
What if they can score points?
I agree. And you look like Cam Ward made the jump from FCS. He did great going to Washington State. Shadur made the jump. He did nice. Like, I think Gronowski is going to, again, make Iowa surprising, given that people have them behind Illinois and USC and Nebraska and all these other schools. I think Iowa's going to be better than that because of Gronowski.
Okay, Liam, surprise team.
Tough to call them a surprise team when you think about recent history, and they were just in the national championship in 2023, but that was a different staff. That was a staff that went down, headlined by DeBoer, that went down to Tuscaloosa and finally reunites with Grubb. It's Washington. It's so obviously Washington.
Well, me and Big Ev had the same one. Y'all can have the same one.
Giles, I knew he was gonna. Washington was my other team. I knew Plum.
Yeah, I've talked about Washington here in months past as we've been the dead, grueling, ominous offseason with what you would think was no purpose, but just looking out there at the bleak windows, hoping and yearning for one day of week 0 football. Yet here we are, August 4th, 2025. Football's near. It's right around the corner. And the Washington Huskies have a very good opportunity to make noise. What did Jed Fish do at Arizona in year 3? 10 wins. I know it's year 2 at Washington, but a common ground in year 2 at Arizona and year 1 at Washington. Similar style of roster, similar style of taking a program over. And disregard that sentence. It's not so similar, whatever.
I know that goes.
You know what I'm talking about.
We all walk into those moments.
They went 5.
Just backing up.
Yeah.
Five wins at Arizona, 6 wins at Washington. Takes the 5 to a 10. I think Washington's gonna win a lot of football games. You look at the schedule. You were saying what, 7-1 after the Michigan game?
Yes, if they were to beat Michigan, 6-1, I believe.
6-1, okay.
Or no, sorry,
I think it's 7-1. Yes.
7-1, yeah.
I think that there's a very real possibility that this team wins 11 games and they only lose 1 of the 2 against Ohio State and Oregon.
So they beat 2 of the they beat 1 of the big 3.
Correct.
Or no, sorry.
They beat 1 of the big 3, which is Ohio State or Oregon, which they both play at home. And Washington is always going to play Oregon well. That's just a big game for Dan Lang, and he's had trouble in that game. Remember, again, 2 years ago, the botchery of that game. I like Washington. When I'm looking for a team, I'm looking, like I did with Indiana last year, I'm looking for a team with a schedule I like, but I'm also looking at the coach that I think could extract the most out of his players. And when I look at that Huskies roster, I see 1, DeMond Williams at quarterback. I see 2, Jonah Coleman at running back, and 3, Denzel Boston at wide receiver. An alpha WR1 that could go and steal you a game. A QB1 that could play make and is set to grow in his development and really showcase his talents. And a game-breaking running back. And then defensively, they're getting in Ryan Walters.
That's big.
That is not big. That is massive. That is gargantuan. Say what you want as him as a head. That's not big. Say what you want as him as a head coach. He is one of the best defensive coordinators out there.
Yeah.
Washington, big time bounce back season. Buy all the stock you can. Breakout players later. Got a different guy to talk about that's not DeMond. Also, Tacario Davis, stud corner.
Oh, yeah.
Love Washington. Reunites with Fish. Washington, brand, Washington.
Yeah, no, Washington is my pick too. I mean, I said that with the ball knowers game of the week because I do think that game, because Illinois has a favorable schedule too. Jed Fish, I mean, they had a schedule last year that was one of the hardest in the country. They had like 7 of the top 10 teams in the Big Ten on their schedule for the first year in the conference. They have a much more manageable schedule this year. Like you said, Liam, they have, I think it's like 5 of the bottom 8 teams. And so it's got from not completely flipping schedules, but pretty close. But for Jed Fish to name DeMond Williams, the quarterback, before spring even really started, and he said, look, we have no controversy. He's the face of our program. You look at how he finished this season last year. Had he had a little bit more attempts, had he started before Will Rogers or earlier in the season, he would have led the Big Ten in completion percentage. And I understand these are all numbers, but this is a team that was handed a shit schedule their first year in the conference. They have a coach with the second year effect, and everything that you just said about this roster. I love Washington, and they're a team that no one's really talking about nationally. They're just kind of out there right now. You know, they had a down year. I think that they bounced back, and that's why that game on October 25th is going to be massive. Okay, T-Bob, most disappointing team in 2025 in the Big Ten.
Most disappointing team. Let me repeat what you said as I find what it is. Okay, here it goes. I don't know if I love my answer here because I'm not sure that, like, I guess it's a function of where your expectations are at. And mine are maybe not where a lot of people's are. But a lot of people still believe in USC and Lincoln Riley. I do not, which is, I think, why they end up on my most disappointing list. I get it. On paper, they have more talent than other average teams do. They've done okay in the transfer portal and whatnot. But I see how do I want to put this? Mm-hmm. A lot of this, you always mention how you can be like, a lot of this is the coach, right? Well, I do have a major problem with Lincoln Riley. In that, again, he has never had a team do better than the one he has had previously. Everywhere he's been has been a consistent decline. And I mean, do y'all feel this? You want some real shit analysis? The vibes are just bad.
Yeah.
The vibes are just fucking bad around USC and have been bad. And guys are leaving the program that shouldn't. Now we're down to Jordan Mailata at quarterback, supposed to be the hero. This Jaden Mailata. I don't want to say Jordan.
I did it the other week too.
But the point is, like, this is a guy who used to churn out Heisman winners on the regular.
Yeah.
And it just feels like they've fallen so far. And you look, Lincoln Riley is 26-14 at USC. This is a worse win percentage than Pete Carroll, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, and Clay Helton. Or excuse me, not Pete Carroll, obviously. Lane Kiffin and Clay Helton, who are all fired. He's lost all 4 of the 5 stars they've signed in his tenure. The schedule's not doing them any favor. Lost a ton of the skill positions to the draft and the portal. Again, the starters leaving that you wouldn't think would leave USC for arguably lateral moves. And the Big Ten's good. So if we're talking about disappointing in terms of results relative to talent level, I think USC will once again be supremely disappointing.
Brandon.
Before I start, I have 2 teams in mind. I just want to check because I think Big Ev's going to have the same team, and I'm going to avoid that this time. So does your team start with the letter I, Big Ev?
No.
Does it start with the letter M?
No.
That was good.
I love the way you're like with your fingers. You're like evil right now.
I mean, and those 2 letters, that's like half the conference.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
What are you about to do, Brandon?
I'm torn very much.
What are you about to do?
I'm torn. Hold on. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking out loud. Let me go last.
Okay, all right. Then Ev, you go.
Well, I get another repeat because it's USC. I think USC is the answer here. And obviously, me and Liam took turns last year just dishing the rock, bashing Lincoln Riley, and I'm sure we'll continue to do a lot of that this season. But for me, it's deeper than that. Obviously, T-Bob just did a great job saying a lot of it. But I think when you look deeper too, it's talking about just the word disappointment. When you see where this team's being rated, and when you look at their schedule, I see 4 or 5 losses here at least. Like, I don't see how this team ends up being a top 25 team. And I think another thing that's not being discussed enough is the travel, just to take a different angle. That travel has become huge. And you saw them struggle with it last year. Maryland, I mean, like, they have games this year. Like, they have a run where they go at Illinois, they have a bye. Then they have Michigan, at Notre Dame, at Nebraska. Like, those 4 games are probably losses to me. That's the way I see it. Then at Oregon at the end of the season. Even Iowa's a tough game, even at home. UCLA's always going to be a tough game, rivalry game. Like, I think this team loses 5 games this year. I think good chance Riley's gone unless they just can't afford it with that insane contract he got. I'll have to look at actually the nitty-gritty of that and the numbers and the buyout, all that. But I think this team is poised to be like a 500-ish team.
So I don't think we actually, Liam, maybe you know better. I don't think we know Lincoln's exact numbers because it's a private school, but I think it's rumored to be around kind of like Kelly's deal. I think it's like $10 million a year, maybe a little more, and you got to imagine the buyout's probably like the remainder of the contract.
Well, he
probably
also
40,
got
50.
like I mean, granted, coaches get a ton of incentives anyways, and like addeds, but like all the things that came out with USC was like exactly how much he's going to get for the house, and he has his PJ and like all those things. It's because it's and like country club memberships and shit. Like I mean, every coach has it to a certain degree, but his salary with all that included is obviously going to be much higher. So if they have to buy him out and he has to give up all that shit, that would suck.
How did Lincoln Riley get so uncool? Especially at USC. Like, Pete Carroll was the coolest motherfucker in the world when he was
I will
there.
tell you this. This is something that, doing this with this company for a long time, Lincoln Riley is somebody that I have attached myself to. And I don't even have a reason why. I can't tell you why, but I loved what he did with quarterbacks, obviously. He dropped off my list so fast with that. Like when he was at OU, anytime I brought up OU and Lincoln Riley, the guys would give me shit. It's just because you love Lincoln Riley. I truly thought with Caleb Williams that they would win a national championship. And I have not done a faster switch up with somebody because I don't understand what happened. Like he wasn't like Norman is, no offense. Like I understand it's a great college football. Norman's not a cool place to be, but he somehow made it cool. And then he goes to LA and he's just not cool anymore.
He's running with the pack of Bruins in his same city.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is too, he's like still trying to recruit the South. Like he needs to be putting borders up on California and like none of the top California. Now I know USC 26 is a good class on paper right now.
I think he has the #1 class.
Yeah, but okay, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Yeah,
on
it
how
might be
that
another
lasts.
coach's class.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. Yeah.
All right.
I think Caleb Williams uncooled the shit out of him. That year or two of Caleb Williams was brutal.
Well, it was. Yeah.
Fault.
I'm just saying how it is public narrative. You can't have your quarterback painting his fingernails and crying in his mom's arms on
Yes,
national
you
television.
can.
You
Yes,
can't
you
have
can.
that. No, but Kayce, you can't have it and be cool. You got to pick one. You
I
can't
think the
be
crying
fire,
to his
and
mom
then also be the cool guy. You can't be both. You
I
can't
think
be both.
crying to his mom is really sweet.
Well, no one else does, unfortunately.
I have no
one
problem with
day-
the painting the nails,
I
and
don't
I'm
either,
a big
but it's just
crier. I'm a
stupid.
big crier as well. But like, that was a tough look. That was a tough look.
I don't personally have an issue with it. We're just talking cool. If we're talking like cool, that's not cool. Like no one thinks that's cool.
Like painting your nails can be cool if you're dropping your nuts on people.
If you throw for 50 touchdowns, you can win 10, 11
like
games.
Ryan Williams.
But
Yes,
you can't
yes.
exactly. You can't, and you're doing spin moves against Georgia for 80-yard touchdowns. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
I don't know
But
if
you're not winning
Caleb-
games and you're crying and your fingernails are painted and you're 7-5 at USC.
I
Nothing
do
cool
feel
about
like Caleb Williams, though, didn't uncool Lincoln Riley as much as the narrative of him just never being able to have a defense was so egregious going from OU to USC. And when Caleb was hurt and you just saw that there was literally nothing else hardly on that team but him. And it's like, when do you eventually say, if I don't have a Heisman caliber quarterback, which he doesn't after Caleb Williams, you got to figure something else out. Like that to me is the bigger picture with like cool or not. It's like, Lincoln, like if you're going to keep your job here or keep your job anywhere else, you eventually have to actually fix the problem that's so obvious that morons like us can see it.
That might be the most damning part about the Lincoln tenure is while Alex Grinch was unquestionably a problem, he became the scapegoat to hand wave away everything. But D'Anton Lynn made that defense significantly better last year. And yet still the team got worse. Like that's officially putting Lincoln on fraud watch.
Yes.
He's
Okay,
not there
Liam,
already.
who's your disappointing team?
Yeah, I mean, it'll make a lot of people angry. but it's Illinois. I think Illinois is gonna get hit by a train with the start of their schedule is a lot tougher than people want to give them. A lot of people are saying that they're going to be undefeated when they're playing Ohio State. I put it on record. I know you guys spoke to them, good relationships, all this and that. I got to call like how I see it. I got to keep it real. There's a better chance Illinois is playing Ohio State as a 3-3 team than a 6-0 team, and that's just a matter of facts. I like what they have on the roster. Let's not act like playing at Duke in week 2 is some gimme when they've got Mensa and they're feeling good about themselves too. Let's not act like at Indiana is some free gimme win too. Like Indiana's just the better team. We spoke about
Indiana wins that game.
Yeah, like we spoke about that at the top of the show. Indiana's ranked 19 or whatever in coaches poll. Illinois 12. It was just I hate preseason polls. What a way to really set a team up for massive amounts of failure in the media and everything, and just get clowned when you give them such high and unrealistic expectations. I like Luke Altmaier. His friends are going to clip it. His friends are going to clip it.
Yeah, his friends are great big
I'm going
bitches.
to dive in the pool because I got to swim with my friend Brandon Walker. I like Luke Altmaier. I do think he's fairly replaceable, though, and I think Illinois, they won't say it. I do think that they would take another quarterback over him. I'm sorry. I got to keep it real. I love their running back room. I like the safeties they've got. I don't know about the wide receiver core. I think that they're just going to regress a bit.
Can I support your point a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, play it.
I was going to, like I said,
yeah,
one
you
of
were
them
in the I and them.
had
I
the
knew what
letter
the
I.
I was.
They beat Kansas 23-17. They beat Nebraska 31-24 in overtime. They beat Purdue 50-49. They beat Rutgers 38-31. They beat Northwestern by 10. They won the bowl against South Carolina 21-17. That is a ton of games that just
5
one play,
one-score wins.
one play flips. That's a ton of one-score wins. All the close games they won, and that generally isn't a great barometer going forward.
And I think the unfortunate reality here is I think Illinois is I think that they're a good team, right? I think that they've just been set up for catastrophic amounts of failure because people are like, hey, Illinois, right? This is the Illinois year.
Preseason
like,
number
Illinois
12 is crazy.
Number 12 is crazy. Like, Illinois, they could be a cool, fun little team or whatever. The cool story, like you did with the Indiana last year. They're very well coached. I think all this pressure is going to amount into something and just instantly crumble. I think that they're a 7-win team. I think I really do think that they're a good, solid team. I see them crumbling.
I disagree with that, but I'll save that for a little bit later. I have points to disagree with it. But Brandon, was that your I team, I assume?
That was my I team, yes, which means I'm moving on to my M team.
I thought there was no I in team.
So do you want me to do my I team really quick and then you do your M team, or would you like
go ahead and do your I team?
I think it's going to be Indiana, and a lot of the same reasons. What?
All right.
Sorry.
You got stabbed.
I got in. I wasn't expecting it.
You weren't expecting Indiana?
No, it took me by surprise.
Okay, well, so first of all, I don't like Kurt Cignetti. I understand he's a good coach. What he did last year was unbelievable. But you want to talk about media setting somebody up. Like the only reason they made it to the playoff last year is because they played one of the easiest schedules in the country. And they should have been there. I absolutely believe they should have been there when you're 11-1 in the Big Ten.
When did you start singing my song?
Because I get to pick a team for 2025.
Well, I know, but I think, hold on, time out, T-Bob. This is between me and her right now. When I said last year they only got there because of the schedule, you acted like I was the boogeyman.
No, I said they should always be there, though. If you go 11-1 in a Power 4 conference, you should always be in the playoff. You didn't want them in the playoff because of that.
That's a total misremembering of what happened.
Well, first of all, I didn't say that they had the best schedule in the world. I said they had a bad schedule. When you play the games on your schedule and you win those games, you have to be in it. What I'm saying is for 2025, I don't think that they're going to be 11-1. Can I finish my point?
Please, but it's just you flipped it. I remember arguing totally different things with you last year.
Because you thought that a 10-2 and SEC team should be over an 11-1 Indiana, and I said
we didn't have a 10-2 SEC team. I think it would have been a debate.
there was never a world to me, just like there wasn't a world to me that Florida State should have been left off the year before, that you should leave Indiana out, because they did play the games on their schedule when they actually played real teams.
Preach, Kayce. Let's go.
All right, continue.
I agree.
It's true.
I agree.
Never once tried to pretend Indiana was going to ever win a national title. That's Liam. That's the person sitting next to you. I always said that they played an easy schedule and they should have absolutely been in the playoff. And they play an easier schedule. I think they're going to probably lose 3, maybe 4 games on this schedule. I think that the way that Curt Cignetti is acting, like all his stuff he's done this offseason, when we were at Indiana, you're right. When we were at Indiana, I was 100% on board with them. Watching the way that not only the season played out, the way that he has acted, maybe I'm alone. I don't like the way that he's trying to pretend like he's of a caliber. He can talk the shit that he can. He got Indiana back on track. That's all fine. When I look at their schedule, I think they lose on September 20th. I think they lose to Illinois. I think they could easily lose September 27th at Iowa. They're going to lose to Oregon. They could lose. I mean, I don't think they'll lose to UCLA or Maryland or Michigan State. I think they're fine there. They're going to lose at Penn State, and they could lose at Wisconsin. That's 4 or 5 games right there that I just do not see. Now, they have player retention. They have a good roster. I'm not saying they're going to lose all 5 of those games, but the way that Indiana waltzed through the season last year, I don't think that they're going to waltz through the season this year, and that's why I say they're disappointing. They're still a very good team. They deserve the praise that they had last year because they played the games that were put in front of them. And I think they're going to be disappointed to see that Curt Cignetti can't just every single year waltz his way into the playoff with an easier schedule than most of the other Big Ten teams do.
I mean, I agreed with you so much on your points about Indiana last year, FSU before, but
You don't have listen. You don't have to at all. I don't know. I would love to hear a quote where
Google me.
I would love to hear a quote from last year where I said Indiana played a good schedule.
All I know is Fernando Mendoza's coming for that ass. Okay. Get ready. Who's up next? Do we all go?
It's
Brandon.
me.
Oh.
No, Brandon, would you like? You rolled your eyes at me just now.
I never said you said they played a good schedule. I just thought when I was railing against them, you would push back hard, and then it felt like you just repeated some of my points there. I think you got on the Brandon Walker train a little bit.
Whoa.
I think
Brandon,
she got on the Brandon Walker train a little bit.
The Indiana
She
points
knows who the ball is.
are your points. It's literally what every single SEC person in the country was saying last year.
It ain't got nothing to do with SEC. It got something to do with them, who they are.
No, everybody was trying to say that last year in Indiana. It was bullshit.
She was right.
You know what none of y'all ever
She's right
mentioned?
now.
You know what none of y'all ever mentioned? Indiana beat the dog shit out of every one of those bad teams. They didn't play with anybody.
These two things are true. T-Bob, if you go back and listen, I will say exactly what you just said, and I stand by that. Nothing that I said takes back anything I said last year. I said that they deserve to be in the playoff. They did have an easier schedule. They beat the fuck out of everybody. When they played a really good team, they obviously couldn't do that. My point has nothing to do with 2024 or Brandon Walker or anything else. It has everything to do with what the expectations are this year in 2025, and I don't think they can waltz through the schedule like they did last year. I didn't steal anybody's points.
Yeah, no,
I'm saying you stole my point.
We cannot let Brandon claim
just
Indiana easy schedule as the
you're singing
Brandon
the Brandon
Walker
Walker song.
No, you cannot claim that as the Brandon Walker
She's
song.
singing the
That's
Brandon
bullshit.
Walker song. It's a beautiful song. Yeah, more people should sing it.
It's a cute song, cute story.
Beautiful song.
I feel like the 2024 Indiana season, and I know, Liam, you were on it, the 9-win Indiana, all that was incredible for them, which is why this year is going to be disappointing. They're not going to be in the college football playoff, in my opinion, and that is going to be disappointing to them because they think Curt Cignetti is the next coming of Jesus Christ. That is my point. It has nothing to do with what they did last year.
All right. Time for the main event. Somebody look me in the eye and tell me why the 7-5 Michigan Wolverines are ranked preseason number 14. Somebody tell me, after a year where they couldn't have a quarterback, they went out and got a 5-star who's never played a college game. You think he's walking into college football being good from day one? Doesn't happen to many people. The running back room, gone. Offensive line, trash last year. Receivers, you see anything out there we're talking about? Defensive line, how many? They still have, 4 first-round picks defensively this year? 4 top 2-round picks this year? Defensive line, Mason Graham, all those guys, gone. They're all gone. Everything last year they were able to step down from the national title season because the defense kept them in some games. It won the game at Ohio State. But where is it? What makes this team the number 14 team in the country? And what are we going to be saying? What are we going to be saying when in September 20th, at the end of that day, Michigan is 2-2, having lost at Nebraska and having lost at Oklahoma? What are we going to be saying? Are the vibes going to be good around Sharon Moore, who's a dead man walking? Are the vibes going to be good going down the stretch of the season after they've lost Oklahoma and Nebraska early in the season? No. And I think if you believe that this is a top 15 team coming in, you are going to be massively disappointed in the Michigan Wolverines. And if their name wasn't Michigan, they wouldn't be anywhere near the top 25, much less number 14.
I have a question about Michigan because, and obviously none of us are Michigan fans, so we don't really know exactly what like deep down they want. At this point, don't you just kind of look at Sharon Moore and be like, thanks for your time here, but like, you know that it's time to move on? Like, it just feels like there's going to be a cloud around him at all. I mean, maybe I'm incorrect.
The only thing is that the 5-star quarterback buys him some time and credibility. Of course,
but I'm saying, like, if you're a Michigan fan at some point, aren't you just like, all right, we have Bryce Underwood, we've got this guy that like everyone in the country wanted, and we have a talented roster, and like there's just anytime Sharon Moore is connected, whether it's fair or not, there's going to be the attachment to what happened with Harbaugh. It's like, I don't know, just like to move past him. That, to me, if it was my team, that's what I would want. But maybe I'm incorrect.
They lost so much on defense. I have no idea what makes them the number 14 team in the country.
So I actually love your answer, and I think it's very well stated. I think maybe the one flaw is when you say, if this wasn't Michigan, nobody be hammering fourth. That is doing a lot of heavy lifting because it is Michigan. And when you're one of the big boys, you do tend to reload. And like, yes, they like all the guys that you mentioned being gone were gone for that bowl game when they beat Alabama. And they still looked pretty damn good in that game. And to be honest, look, they had a successful end to the season last year. They caught fire late. They versus Underwood. Everybody could say that. I don't know. I think
true.
I think contextually, they can and do. I think it gives you a bit of preview of what to expect next year, right? Like, okay, it's like Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. They didn't play in the bowl game, but Derek Moore kicked ass. Rayshon Benny was a former top 200 recruit. So like, and like, okay, Will Johnson, fucking awesome corner. He was hurt halfway through the season last year. Michigan's defense didn't miss a beat. Like, so I know they lost a lot, and I get what you're saying, but I think the fact that they are Michigan does. I think that has weight. That has weight. And adding Underwood there is without a doubt exciting. I do take your point that like first-year quarterback's going to tend to struggle, and maybe we're at risk of overrating him. But his talent package is fucking incredible. Sure. One of the best that we've ever seen. So
he going to be ready to go against Brent Venables in week 2?
I mean, those are on the rock a lot. Those are on to Haynes a lot.
I mean, the fact that they have to play Michigan, I mean, it's like, you know, obviously Ohio State, Texas is a much bigger game, but the fact that Ohio State and Michigan play these big games early on, like when a lot of these teams in the Big Ten don't play shit. But Brandon, I know, did you just you didn't go through their schedule. Like, so you said, so it's New Mexico at Oklahoma, then Central Michigan at Nebraska. They go into a bye. So going into October, you think they could be 2-2?
I think they're 2-2 heading into October. Then I think their schedule eases up a little bit after that. At USC is tough. At Michigan State, it's always a rivalry game. Ohio State.
Wisconsin. I know we don't really know what to expect for them, but Wisconsin, you know, in Ann Arbor is not just like an absolute cakewalk. I mean, depending on how Bryce Underwood's playing at USC.
I think it's a 7-5 team again.
Yeah, I mean, Washington. I mean, playing Northwestern at Wrigley, I think it's a 7-5 team again.
I actually
5 losses.
I actually like their roster. I just hate their head coach.
Yeah, Big F.
No, I was going to say, and obviously, unbiasedly, even playing Oklahoma at a conference, favorable Big Ten schedule overall.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, I see so like, too. I think it depends. Like the points that Brandon made about the defensive turnover is obviously warranted and valid. I guess when I look at their schedule, I see them losing like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Like I don't see 7-5 to be honest.
But isn't 8-4 a disappointment?
Yes, 8-4 would be disappointing, but I think there's also a world where they could go 10-2. I don't think that's like the craziest thing ever.
So Blutman, to your point, what you just said, you like their roster, but you don't like their head coach. That kind of goes to like what I asked earlier. It's like the the head coach kind of seems like the cloud over the program, and it might not even be his fault, but to me, it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, I mean, he was just set up to be the scapegoat, and it's just how much time can he buy before they kick him to the curb and get the next guy? Does that come to the performance in the win-loss column, or does that come because something else came up in the scandals of it all? I don't know. Only time will tell. I kind of do tend to agree with Ev. Like, even with my concerns for Moore, it's going to be a lot of in-game clock management stuff that's going to get him in trouble that I think he really struggled with last year. But I kind of do lean to them being an 8-9 win team still. I actually think that they exit September 4-0. I'm not too keen on Nebraska. I'm not too big on Oklahoma.
Oklahoma one is interesting.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a
Oklahoma
very
one's
fascinating game to watch. I can't wait for that game.
I mean, that
I
does
also
feel
just
very
Oklahoma
early.
game in Norman, or is it
Yes.
neutral?
It's in Norman.
It's in Norman. That's what I'm saying. That's a bad spot for Bryce Underwood.
It is, but it also, I mean, it
but
depends
also-
on, this kid, he's young, clearly, and he has all the hype in the world. It's like, how does he hit the ground running? And like, how fast does John Mateer fit into Oklahoma's system? I mean,
But it's like
why
you
it's
got to
so
Well,
figure
that's why
that.
his offensive coordinator, though.
I was going
Right.
to say, you got to figure that Mateer's going to, I mean, he's much more experienced. He's got his OC with him. He's going to have better playmakers around him.
I mean, when
That's
you
a
look
tough
at Bryce
spot for
Underwood,
Michigan.
and I know T-Bob Bryce Underwood is a sore subject for LSU fans, like, what are your true expectations for him? Like, maybe not the whole season, but like to just hit the ground running with Michigan, because
Well, they
the
have no
hype is there.
playmakers, which that's where I would give credence to Michigan being 7-5. Whatever Brandon said, it's like they just like, who are the weapons? I don't know, and I think that's the element that we underrate maybe more than any other when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks, is just how helpful having great weapons around you are, and how much better that makes a quarterback look. And it's something that I always didn't appreciate, because like I was always, I guess, watching so much Saints football, I just always thought about like Drew Brees taking like just no-name guys and making them look good, but like the average quarterback can't do that. A college quarterback especially can't do that. And so that's Michigan's biggest failing, is like, is this true? Where was this? Is it? If you look at playmakers, true freshman Andrew Marsh is the only 4-star in the 4 deep. When you're talking about receivers, that's fucking crazy. Somebody's gonna have to show up big.
I mean,
for them.
McCauley's a pretty good player receiver that they've got.
He came in from the Indiana.
Yeah,
guy.
like, I don't love much else they have in the receiving courts. I like their 1-2 at tight end a lot, and Marlon Klein, who made Freaks List, and Hogan Hansen. I think Hansen, I was talking to Kayce about him earlier, I think Hansen's like an NFL tight end. I think they're oozing with talent. I just think the head coach is kind of a doofus.
I hope Bryce Underwood is good, just from the standpoint. It's like, I'd love to see a kid with all of that talent, like out of high school, actually pan out right away. Because I feel like we do this like every single year, the guy out of high school. But I don't know. I just think Sharon Moore, as long as he's there, there's just something around the program, and the talent could be the best of all time. But there's just something still very weird about that. But we'll see. Okay, do we want to just go worst? Do you think that we all have the same worst?
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody want on 3? Everybody on 3.
All right.
1,
1, 2,
2,
3.
3.
UCLA.
Yeah, Purdue. Okay, T-Bob. Loser.
What did Big F say?
I said Purdue.
He's at Purdue.
Me and Kayce said Purdue. What'd you say?
Purdue.
And you said?
You can't go Purdue. Purdue has Barry Odom. They're not going to be the worst team in the Big Ten.
I think it is a step in the right direction.
No, they're
So hard.
I don't give a shit. I don't
It's a
give a
step
shit.
in the right direction, but who are they going to be better than?
Northwestern's going to be the worst.
No.
No shot.
Whoa,
No.
you're double dipping.
What?
UCLA and Northwestern.
I had
This is
UCLA on my
crazy.
list. I had
Yeah.
UCLA on my list.
I know.
T-Bob,
I just think
their
Northwestern
schedule-
could win 3 or 4.
I respect Northwestern, at least as like a, like what they're gonna bring. Like, they're gonna be ugly, but they're gonna play decent defense.
Also, they have a
Are no
quarterback.
smart kids.
I like
Go ahead, Kayce.
Barry
I think
Odom.
Braun's a great coach too. I think he's a very good coach.
So that's what's funny is David Braun is a Big Ten Coach of the Year that I don't think we can say is actually a good coach. Like, he got Big Ten Coach of the Year because he so vastly outperformed expectations in 1 year after all the scream mask shit. But like, last year was a disaster. They're one of only 4 Power 4 teams in the entire country to not sign a single 4-star in the last 2 classes. Anyone had a pulse on last year's team is gone. They have no stadium. They play Oregon, Penn State, and Michigan. I just
and
don't know.
Purdue plays all of those teams and Notre Dame out of conference.
Yeah, but they got Barry Odom.
Yeah, but Barry Odom, listen.
Look what he did at UNLV. That was a
I
dog
understand.
shit
He
program.
did, and he was great at Missouri, and he was great at Arkansas defensively. I get that, but to inherit one of the worst teams we've ever seen in college football,
Yes.
to come in and then to play the schedule that they have to play. I mean, they play USC and Notre Dame before they even get out of September.
He inherited a terrible UNLV program and did well there. I think he's built for this. Like we talk about not believing in Sharon Moore. How can you believe in Deshaun Foster or David Braun?
Oh, I don't believe.
Yeah. So
in
UCLA's
Deshaun
worse than
Foster.
Liam. You agree?
We're really bad, but the difference
Nico.
there between I mean I do think Northwestern has it too, is at least having an identity, and on the offensive side of the ball, like I could trust that I'm gonna watch a UCLA game, I'm gonna be able to watch an offensive line that's putting forth a bunch of effort and creating great holes for the run game. Like at least I could depend on a run game. For Northwestern, I could depend on Griffin Wilde, who I'll talk about later, is going to get a lot of play in the receiving game. I think he's one of the best kept secrets in college football. There's connection with him and the OC, who was the OC at South Dakota State. Preston Stone's a highly capable quarterback. I just think if I'm looking at Preston Stone, I'm looking at what Purdue has to offer. Well, Preston Stone has a whole bunch more talent to work with than whatever Purdue's got. It's just my thought.
I know. I'm doing this just based on head coach.
I respect it, play.
Hey,
I got no issues, no
everybody's
qualms.
picks are their picks. Also, other teams that would be down there, Maryland, Rutgers.
Well, no. You can't be Maryland. Mike Loxley's the king of locker room. I don't know if you know.
Mike Lux.
Now, granted, he lost the locker room, but
He's king of locker room.
but he's king of locker
They
room.
are finishing, around the bottom of most people's Big Ten rankings. I'm just pointing that out so we can cover the whole conference. Okay.
Yeah, no. They're going to be dog shit. I'm just joking.
Yeah, that and Rutgers. Rutgers always just seems like they're gonna have a year where it's like, could they? Their schedules.
Rutgers will be
more on
fine.
that. Yeah,
Rutgers will
more
be
on
fine.
that for our title game picks.
Shut the fuck
Shut
up.
up.
Rutgers is that team, like, even though they're way more than a quarterback away, whenever I watch them, I always feel like they kind of are because their quarterback's always so bad.
Wait, the
And
Greeks
they at least try hard, like on defense. They
Yes.
try. Like they always have like a decent run game, so I always watch them. Like, God, if they just had a quarterback, they'd be good. But it's like they need to go from like horrible quarterback to like the best, then they'd be like good.
I can't remember where I wrote this down, so I can't find the exact numbers. But to your point, Ev, I want to say Kaliak Manis put together like a top 5 or top 10 passing season in school history last year. And he threw for like 2,600 yards, and it's like one of the best passing seasons that the Scarlet Knights have ever had. He is back though, right?
Yes.
Greek rifle back,
yeah.
one more year.
Yeah, one more year.
Oh,
Neighbor of Brandon Walker.
People forget that.
really?
Yeah, my neighbor.
Where?
Antioch.
Here?
And yeah,
Oh,
where I live.
oh.
You been to
I
my
thought
house?
Rutgers is in New Jersey.
You been to my house?
Yeah, I have.
He lives. His family lives.
Oh, his
right-
family lives right there.
Yeah.
Rutgers, the birthplace of
He
college
started
football.
at Minnesota.
Rah.
Okay, before we move on, Rocket Money. Brandon, I know, just like everybody else, school is coming up. When you got kids, when you're going to college, that budget starts getting a little tighter in the fall. So Rocket Money can help you with that. And obviously, you probably get a lot of subscriptions in the fall, with whether it's football subscriptions, whether it's different cable subscriptions, whether your kids are accidentally subscribing to things that you don't know they are. Rocket Money can take care of that as well. And most people don't know how much they're spending every single month on those subscriptions. And it's a personal finance app that can help find and cancel those unwanted subscriptions. It monitors all of your spending and helps lower your bills so you can help grow your savings. It's a great app to just kind of figure out exactly where all your finances are. They'll even alert you if they think that there's a big cost that maybe is not normally in your budget. They'll alert you to make sure that you did it. So it's great. It's a great thing to just take a look at your finances. And over 500 million members have saved over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. They will do it just for you. You don't even have to go log in. You don't have to call. You just click the button, say, hey, I don't want to use this anymore, and they'll take care of that. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach all your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/rough today. That's rocketmoney.com/rough. Again, rocketmoney.com/rough. Okay, so we still have the big categories left. We can move a little bit quicker because I'm assuming these next two are probably going to be precursors to the big ones. Let's do Coach of the Year, Brandon. Who is your Coach of the Year in the Big Ten?
Well, this is not a precursor to the big one.
Okay.
Because I don't think this team will be in the conference championship game. But third year, my surprise team.
God damn it.
It's Matt Rule, Nebraska.
God damn it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I won't spend too much time. I've already told you about Nebraska. Told you what I think about him. If Franklin wins, that's great, but he's got a loaded team. If Ryan Day wins, that's great. He's got a loaded team. If Dan Lanning wins, that's great. He's got a loaded team. I think 10-2 at Nebraska, 9-3 Nebraska is Coach of the Year material in the Big Ten.
Is that yours, T-Bob?
Yeah, it's Matt Rule year 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Liam.
Definitely gotta be Barry. No, it's Jed Fish. I think Washington's win 10 games again. I don't think 11 will be too. But I think 10 wins Washington. Jed Fish.
And Ev.
Yeah, I was between those two. I'll go Matt Rule just because they were my surprise team. I think those things kind of go hand in hand. Washington was almost my surprise team. I like the Jed Fish pick. I'll go Matt Rule though.
Thanks, boy.
Okay, I will do mine, and it is a precursor, so I'll explain it a little more in a little bit. But I'm going to take Brett Bielema as Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And I know, Liam. I'm sorry, but I'm going to take
Wait
Brett
a second.
Bielema. Okay, Liam. I'll start with you.
She got the lineup playing for the title.
It sounds like it.
Sounds like she might.
I might. Stay tuned. Liam, Player of the Year.
My player of the year is Jeremiah Smith. No other words need to be said.
Jeremiah Smith as well. Brandon.
Drew Aller, quarterback, Penn State University.
Oh, no. Watch out.
I had nothing to say. I got nothing to say.
I think he's the best quarterback in the conference. I think they're going to win the conference. Hello. I think it's his year. I think Jeremiah Smith is obviously the best player. But when it comes time to if Penn State goes 11-1, 12-0, wins the conference, their quarterback will win the Player of the Year.
T-Bob.
So obviously I Smith as my answer, but in an effort to diversify, I mean, the more and more I think about it, and this is not unique because a lot of people, this has been kind of what the offseason's built on, but Fernando Mendoza, dude, if you look at the numbers that Rourke put up last year, and then you look at Mendoza's stats from last season, you look at his just raw size, 6'5", the seemingly almost supernatural game planning ability of Kurt Cignetti. Like if you read any character pieces on Kurt, like all the coaches that work with him, that's what they all talk about, that his ability to game plan and put his players in positions to succeed is like almost bordering on a superpower. I think we could look up and Fernando Mendoza could just have stupid stats this season in a Big Ten where will there be a quarterback with stupid stats? I mean, normally you'd go to Oregon, but with Dante Moore, I mean,
Demond.
Yeah.
I love the Mendoza, but I hate myself for not putting him top 10 in the
I'll
country.
go.
I mean, Julian Cyan.
Well, but I mean, is he even going to
Ohio State
start?
QB.
Or isn't Keinholz maybe going
Well,
to start?
whoever it is, the Ohio State quarterback's going to put up 40
Crazy
touchdowns.
numbers.
And
But like Will Howard didn't put up Rourke numbers last year.
yeah, fair
So
enough.
I'll go Fernando Mendoza.
But they don't have the Judkins Henderson
No,
monster they had last year.
no, but they're
And
Ohio
I
State.
know,
People's
obviously.
Donaldson monster.
I mean,
We
but
have-
it's Smith because also like for that reason the quarterback is going to feed Jeremiah Smith
Yeah.
24/7.
T-Bob, if Jeremiah Smith is your answer, stand 10 toes down. Put it on the graphic. We do keep track of this.
No, then fuck that. I want Fernando Mendoza.
Okay.
Yeah, because Jeremiah Smith, more fuel to the fire. This in kindergarten.
Yeah, fuck. No, I've just empowered him.
Ed, I know you've probably heard more than we have, and it's August 4th, so you've got a whole fall camp. Who do you think is going to start this year, quarterback?
Well, it's going to be who I'm going to pick for my player of the year. Obviously, J.J. Smith is the best player. I'm going to take Julian Sayin. I mean, I just think with the embarrassment of riches he's going to have, and listen, there's going to be a game or two where a team just says, we're going to triple cover Jeremiah Smith. He's not going to beat us today. And on that day, Carnell Tate, Max Clare, Brandon Anderson are going to go nuts. I think Sayin's going to have those big-time numbers because I think, honestly, as much as I love Will Howard, that's QB1 forever, I think Sayin is has a more talented arm than he does. He can make every throw. Talked to a little birdie maybe a week or two ago, said he looks incredible. I mean, when I watch him, he gives me, like, I know this is obviously insanely high praise, but I'm going more just off size and, like, arm talent. He gives me, like, Drew Brees vibes. Like, not the biggest guy. He's, like, 6'1", 200 pounds, make every throw, just accurate darts. Obviously, it's his first season starting. I get it. Doesn't have the experience, all that, but I think the talent, the offensive line is going to be incredible. The receivers going to be incredible. Max Clare is just an unbelievable talent at tight end. I think he's obviously going to be a big part of the offense. And I think just with all that being said, Julian Saint's going to put up just monster numbers. And that's why he'll be my pick on this graphic.
Here's my issue with Ohio State. So 22 players end up on all Big Ten teams last year. Right? Incredible. 14 got drafted, 4 in the first round, 7 in the first 45. Chip Kelly went to the NFL. O-line coach Justin Fry went to the NFL. Jim Knowles left for Penn State. Quinton Judkins, Trayvon Henderson, gone.
Yeah.
Sawyer, Jamala, Williams, Hamilton, Simon, Burke, Ransom, Hancock. I mean, that you return one starter on the offensive line. Now, granted, I know some backups played and did great in that playoff run, but like, and then you tie all that in with talk to any championship winning coach, and every single one of them tells you that trying to get back that next year is one of the biggest challenges of their entire career. I don't.
Okay.
It's a lot of question marks.
All right.
It's a lot of question marks for the Buckeyes.
I think you're right. That's why I like Penn State as much as I do, because I think Ohio State ticks down a little bit.
Okay, so then with that, should we just go into title game and champ?
We can.
Okay, who wants? So Ev, you are the reigning national champ. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. I won't even get into a deep thing about it. I think it's chalk. I'm taking Ohio State. We're going to just get Ohio State versus Penn State. I think they're clearly the two best teams, clearly the most two talented teams. Oregon's obviously still good. There's some other teams that are still good, but I think they're the two teams that are going to stand tall above the rest, maybe even in terms of the whole country, not just this conference. Be Ohio State and Penn State.
And you're might as well just say champion right now.
Yeah, listen, Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten. They're going to win it this year. Crazy they didn't win it last year somehow. They obviously fumbled it, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think Ohio State over Penn State. That's my title game pick.
All right.
Brandon?
Yeah, Penn State, your 2025 Big Ten champions after beating Ohio State in the championship game.
T-Bob?
Penn State champions after beating Oregon. Again, when I look at Ohio State and Oregon,
But you didn't love Oregon either.
I know. And well, so it's a weird thing.
They kind of got the same thing going on.
Them and Ohio State have the exact same thing going on, except Oregon has the hunger of failure, and Ohio State is fat and full off of success. And I believe hunger makes a team more dangerous, whereas, again, I think Ohio State's going to be tougher to motivate this year.
Ohio State has the edge of a team that has won the big one. Oregon.
I don't agree with that edge. I don't think that's an edge unless Ryan Day proves me wrong. The other thing I'll say, I thought this was pretty interesting. If you don't look at quantity, but you go by player to player average, Oregon signed the number one recruiting class and number one transfer portal class in the entire country. Like, the talent at Oregon, like Ohio State, is off the chart, and they're replacing not like Ohio State. But also, I think I kind of like Oregon's schedule, to be honest. I mean,
Oregon's schedule
at
is
Penn State
enticing.
and at Washington, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, at Penn State's the only one that is really up in the air. I mean, at Iowa, at Washington's not easy, but
Washington's a tough game. That's gonna be a tough
No,
game.
I agree, but like Oregon on paper is significantly more talented than those teams.
And it all, I mean, they obviously having Oklahoma State in week 2, like in years past, you could be like, well, I mean, Oklahoma State, like, I don't feel like anybody right now is like, oh shit, they could slip up against Oklahoma State.
No, so yeah, give me Oregon. Even though, again, I don't actually think of Oregon as being a real like championship contender.
So I wrote down, because I know we're going to go through this, and obviously Oregon, a major story in the Big Ten because they won the Big Ten last year, but I didn't know if anybody was going to pick them here. How do you feel about Dante Moore? Because I feel like it's pretty up in the air about how people feel that he's going to fit into this Dan Lanning offense, which obviously you think Dan Lanning, anytime I had Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, he gets these guys and he puts them in good spots. Do you think that Dante Moore can be that guy?
I think he will be very good because of his talent combined with the pipeline that Oregon's created. I think if you're expecting him to put up Nix and Gabriel numbers, then that's obviously that's absurd. I mean, those were year 7 players who had already done it all at that point. But Moore will be very good. I just don't think he's going to be the level of those guys.
Well, and the Will Stein offense too, I mean, obviously is very quarterback friendly with that. I feel like people are when you talk about quarterbacks, when we put out our top 10 quarterbacks list, there were a lot of people that were like, why is Dante Moore not on this list? And to me, it's just like we might look up middle of the season and he might be doing Dan Lanning quarterback numbers with Will Stein's offense. But at the same time, it's like, guys, what are we like? We got to let this man play first. All right, Blutman.
I got very close to having Ohio State or Penn State beat Washington. In the end, I just went for Ohio State beating Penn State.
So we have
Nowhere.
4 guys, 2 teams, 2 Penn States, and 2 Ohio States. Correct?
Yeah, and then T-Bob is the only, he has Oregon there instead of Ohio
Oh,
State.
okay. Yeah. Sorry. I apologize.
Yeah. So, but I have Ohio State winning the thing. I think that they are going to win. I think that, I believe in obviously having Jeremiah Smith, having the defense that they do. But this is another, I did this with my quarterbacks. It's high risk, high reward. Okay. I am putting that they are going to be playing Illinois in the conference championship. And here's why. So first of all, obviously we know what they did last year, 10 wins last year. He retained so much of the offense. The entire offensive line is returning. Experience does matter. Whether you think Luke Altmaier is a great quarterback or not, experience matters. He knows this offense. I do believe, like I know Liam, you said earlier, you think Illinois would take a different quarterback. I don't necessarily know if that's 100% true. They'd probably take a more physically talented guy, but they're all in on him. When you look at their defense, they have 8 defensive starters returning from Illinois, 3 starters from Wisconsin that Bielema went and plucked. So they have an entire defensive starting lineup that all started last year. Their entire secondary is back. That secondary put up top 40 passing numbers. They were top 10 in limiting explosive plays. He went out and filled any hole that he could possibly find that he needed to on this roster, but then the key players are there. They lost some of their wide receivers, but then they went and got transfers, and then the 3 guys that were right underneath those receivers who put up decent numbers as well, they're all there. When you look at their schedule, which I know we've kind of picked apart already, but I truly believe that going into October 11th, that they're playing Ohio State in Champaign. They're playing them at home. I think they do lose that game, but I think they win the rest of the games on their schedule, and I think that we have a Big Ten champion rematch between Ohio State and Illinois. I think they have no problem beating Duke. They have Western Illinois, Western Michigan. I think they beat Indiana. I've already talked about how I feel about them. At Purdue, okay, so I think they go into the Ohio State game undefeated. They have a bye. Again, that October 25th game in Seattle against Washington is interesting to me. But then they play Rutgers, Maryland, and at Wisconsin and finish off with Northwestern. This is a very favorable schedule for them. I am taking a huge risk here not putting Penn State there, but I think Ohio State ends up beating them in a rematch. And I'm on the Bielema train. I really am. I think that the hype they're receiving is warranted. So,
T-Bob, can I ask you about your penis?
Well, I'm glad you did. Because
we haven't talked about your cock enough.
Nope.
I was waiting for how you would transition to that, Brandon.
And
that
right now,
I'm curious about your cock.
beautifully
T-Bob.
done.
right now, my penis, phallus, appendage, whatever you want to call it.
Remember?
It's working better than ever.
Congratulations.
I'm having better sex than ever. And that's all thanks to Blue Chew. T-Bob,
Wow.
what's Blue Chew? Blue Chew's the original brand offering
I'm
chewable
here to ask
tablets
the
for
questions.
better
You don't have to ask yourself a
sex.
question. Okay.
Are you going to interrupt me again?
So, well, no, you just asked yourself a question. I'm literally playing
Look,
the role of.
little tiny limp dick boys are not allowed to interrupt this read, okay? This is only for our Blue Chew chewable men.
You need to give Brandon some Blue Chew.
I need to
apparently.
give him some Blue Chew. I know. Again, the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. These erection-enhancing tablets help men achieve stronger, harder, and longer-lasting erections for sexual activities. Remember, guys, it's not just about getting hard. Crucially, it's about staying hard. And Blue Chew is built for both. So, guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is just a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Remember, Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA. Woo! And prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. It means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Guys, again, this is not just performance, okay? This is about legacy. Or in Liam's case, third legacy. When you lay it down with Blue Chew, you're not just making memories, you're shifting paradigms. Elevate your bedroom game and become a case study in evolution. Discover your options at BlueChew.com.
Gorgeous ad read.
So you did skip a category. You know that, right?
Oh, the breakout player.
Breakout players.
Let's just very, very fast say the word and we don't have to.
I have one for
Bryce
Ricky.
Underwood, he's 18, he has terrible acne.
Okay.
Wait, was that not breakout?
No. We mean. Hold on. I understand. We mean breakout player on the field.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. I got a different answer then.
Okay, Brandon, go ahead.
Give me Aiden Childs. Give me
I almost did it, dude.
Give me a post-type sleeper on Aiden Childs.
Okay, I like that.
Give me. Last year we all sat here thinking it was happening. Didn't happen. Give me Aiden Childs to do it 1 year after everybody thought it was going to happen.
Okay, Blutman.
I have one for every team.
No.
Yeah, I do.
No, we don't have time for that.
I do.
Okay, T-Bob, who's your player?
It's a guy that I talked about earlier. I think Gronowski is going to give good quarterback play to Iowa.
You just looked him in the eyes.
What?
He was
And
here,
he fell
and
in love.
you looked him in the eye, and you fell in love with him.
I understand
That's
that.
all fair. Okay, look, I'm not saying that's not affecting me. It's absolutely affecting my opinion. But again, the resume is fucking absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of actual success. This is not Cade McNamara or any other no, this is a player here. And with quarterbacks, you can get the vibe.
Yeah.
And the vibe that he had was one of a leader, supreme confidence. Give me Gronowski, breakout player of the year. Of the champion.
You got
Yes,
to pick
thank
one.
you.
You got to pick one.
Pick one.
I have a one for the league. I have one
that's what
for
we're
every
doing.
school as well, though.
You
Because
can do that on Twitter. Do the one for the league.
Demond Williams, quarterback.
You don't have to be disappointed about it.
Dual threat with high-end playmaking and an uncanny ability to make tough throws in tight spots as a young freshman quarterback. Threw about 78.1% completions last year, I believe. Looking to build off that successful stint. Great feel for the game. Doesn't back down. There's a play in the Sun Bowl where he escapes out of it was Houdini-esque. I love Demond Williams so much.
Demond Williams is mine as well. I know we shook hands on Washington earlier. The fact that he not only had the 8 touchdowns and 1 interception when he came in, he also he was like second in the team in rushing too. Like he was right there. This guy obviously is going to be really good. I don't think that Washington's at the top of the conference this year, but with this kid, I think we're going to be talking about him for a minute. Okay, Ev, yours?
Yeah, I mean, mine was Demond Williams as well. He's a college football star in the making.
Yeah.
Legit dual threat. Tough when you get double cucked right before it. Had been dying to get Washington on my list. This was my way to get him on the list. Was Demond as the breakout
They're
player.
there.
So it's Demond time.
It is, and
Like
so
like
the
a
3 of us
demon
have him.
time
Okay,
thing.
just really quick.
Hold on, Kayce. Hold on.
What?
I'm just looking at the man's notes. He was trying to give a breakout player for every. I'm not going to sit here and you talk about the breakout right guard for Iowa.
Kay Piper. He's back-to-back hay bale toss
A
champ.
safety for Indiana.
Amari Farrell, KX guy.
An edge for Maryland. A tight end at Michigan.
Hogan Hansen, I
Brandon,
talked
you
about
knew
earlier.
better.
Future NFL guy. I'm doing this for every conference.
All right.
You knew better. Well, what I was going to say, just really quick, just going down the Big Ten, we've covered obviously most of these teams. I know this team doesn't matter in the long run, but I don't think we've said Michigan State's name one time.
I said
Styles
Aiden
would have
Childs.
been the only thing,
Oh,
but
that's
no,
right. There you go.
but then
Okay.
we didn't even say Michigan State. You
No.
just said Aiden Childs.
Yeah, I just
Shout
I'm
out
like
John
looking-
Smith.
No, I think. Listen, shout out to Minnesota, who I don't think got any love. I think they could
Oh,
be.
really? Ball Knowers game. Ball
Yeah, he
Knowers
did.
big
Oh,
game.
yeah.
I
True.
was marking it all down. That's why I was.
Wisconsin wasn't talked about much, but
They
it
don't
is-
need to be.
It's nut cutting time for Luke Fickell. Rutgers we talked about a little bit, Maryland a little bit. I'm trying to think of who just didn't get any mention at all.
Oh, that's it.
UCLA
That was
didn't
it.
get much at all.
No, I shit on UCLA, remember? That was it. Let's see here. Liam handed me Stanton Ramiel, offensive tackle from Michigan State.
I'm leaving. I can't.
wait.
Well, the doctors advised the family to abort him at birth due to expectation of severe birth defects.
Good Lord.
They wanted his kid to have a chance at life. Now he's 6'7", 312. Packs a powerful punch. Fuck yeah.
we
Yep, we
said
had
this
Michigan
with
State.
coaches. With coaches on the hot seat, I think Luke Fickell came up there. What does Wisconsin have to do to save Luke Fickell's job this year?
I don't know. Eight wins probably does it.
Okay. All right. Well, that is our Big Ten preview. Obviously, we'll talk more about some of these teams when we get to the college football playoff scenario.
SEC
I would
next.
imagine.
SEC next.
Oh, we are doing SEC next. I kind of thought you would.
We always slow play it. I say fuck it. Let's just go the big 2 conferences to start
Yeah.
off.
Love
All
it.
right. So Friday's episode will be the SEC. That was
go.
unnecessary
Sorry.
roughness.
Let's go.